Emerson had the latest TV. The screen door banged shut behind me, announcing my presence, and they all looked up. Some days they'd all be so high they ignored me, but today was not one of those days. I could tell that the moment Emerson's lips lifted into that grin I hated so much. "Look what the cat dragged in," Emerson's gruff voice announced, making sure all attention was on me, as if it wasn't already. "Stayed out late, I see." I puffed out a breath and hooked some hair behind my ear that had fallen out of my ponytail. "I was working," I told him, but I didn't know why I even bothered. It was a waste of breath. "Sure you were." Emerson stood, trying to make himself look bigger than he actually was. Unfortunately for him, he got his mom's genes, and that also meant her height. He was a couple of inches taller than me at most, and I was only 5'4". Everyone around him may have towered over him, but that didn't stop them looking up to him. Emerson ran his hand through his shaggy light brown hair as he stepped closer to me. "Where you been all night, Lola?" He raised one of his brows, his hazel eyes focusing on me, a warning clear in their depths. "I told you," I said, trying to let my voice carry over the noise blasting from the TV. "I was at work." I shook my head and moved through the room, ignoring everyone else, and headed into the kitchen. His footsteps followed me, but I ignored him and pulled open the refrigerator. The coldness that should have greeted me wasn't there. Shit! I grabbed a bottle of warm water and slammed the door closed. Why isn't it cold? I looked over at Emerson, where he was leaning against the doorframe. "What?" "The refrigerator, Emerson. Why isn't it cold?" His nostrils flared at me for using his name, but he shrugged it off as if I hadn't said it. "Fuck if I know." I let my head dip back and blew out a frustrated breath. Why? Why did he have to be like this? But then, at least he was home half the time. I twisted the cap on the bottle and took a huge gulp of the water, grimacing at how warm it was, but grateful for something rather than nothing. It was a good job that we didn't keep normal things in our refrigerator like cheese and meat. "I'll take a look tomorrow before class." Emerson pushed off the doorframe and stalked toward me. "I don't know why you bother going to college." A muscle in his jaw ticked, probably fed up with having the same conversation over and over again. "I told you I'd take care of you." I backed up a couple of steps and stopped when my ass hit the counter. The L-shaped units covered half of the space, leaving just enough room for an apparently broken refrigerator and a small table complete with 3 chairs. "I know," I ventured, clearly seeing his pupils that were twice the size they should be now that he was closer. "But I want to go to college." I kept my voice even, not wanting to set him off, but trying to keep a part of myself in the process. "You don't need to go." His voice was deeper now, the frustration becoming evident. All he wanted was for me to stay home and become one of his crew. That way, he could control what I did and who I saw. He hadn't always been like this, not that first couple of years when Dad and I first moved in. I'd been 12 that year, and having a protective older stepbrother who was 4 years older than me was something I relished. But it hadn't lasted long. I'd quickly realized that he didn't want to protect me. He wanted to control me. I may have lived in a place that never felt like home, surrounded by people who were strangers, but that didn't mean I had to stay here. I had a goal, a promise I'd made myself the first time my dad and his mom had gotten high and left us for 3 weeks. Those 3 weeks when I was 14 had been the wake-up call I'd needed. 5 years later, and I was closer to that goal than ever. I could nearly touch it if I stretched far enough. "I want to, though," I told him, for what had to have been the 1,000th time. "I enjoy it."
"You... what?"
We both froze at the intruder's voice, my eyes widening as Emerson's narrowed. Everyone knew not to disturb him when he was talking to me. It was a rule I hated more than anything in this world. It didn't matter what was happening or what he was doing, they all turned a blind eye, every single one of them. Control. He controlled them all. I flicked my gaze over to the doorway and frowned at the newcomer. His dark blue jeans fit him perfectly and trailed up to a pristine white t-shirt.